Hello beautiful people, welcome to the latest episode of my weekly vlog. This week I was actually going to talk about something interesting related to acting itself. It's basically called the bleeding effect, which I'm not sure if a lot of people are aware of. Obviously there's a lot of chat about like getting into character and staying in character and character this and character that, and it's all very useful and sometimes gets a bit carried away and it gets on my nerves. There's a lot of voodoo mumbo jumbo out there, but there is something that happens when you're in character that is kind of weird but fascinating at the same time. So I thought I'd share it with you. Basically, all this getting into character stuff is when you're an actor, you sign up to treat other actors in front of a camera or in front of other people in a certain way. Acting, done. I'm not going to teach acting, but like, let's get the basics out there. And, you know, when you're an actor, you also sign up to be treated by other actors in certain ways that the script demands, whether that means being told that you're cute and fluffy or being, you know, shouted, having your head shouted off, or, you know, that's just relatively mild human behavior that you see people portray on screen. Long story short, people kind of do this for real, in the sense of like, it psychologically does impact you and it does feel real. The emotions are real as you're doing them. There's a certain element of technique and, you know, sort of make-believe, like we don't actually punch each other, but we do treat the punches like they're, you know, life and death. So I guess mentally, there's a part of you that while you're completely aware of the play element of it, it does bring real, genuine emotions along, and it just stays with you for a long time, is what I'm trying to say. Now, the bleeding effect, which is very fascinating, is something that happens rarely, but is basically when your imaginary world and your real world sort of combine for a very, very short period of time, but it's usually very weird when it does happen and it sort of messes you up. It happened to me a couple of times, I think. I mean, there's one that stands out, which I'm going to talk about, but yeah, it has happened to me a couple of times. When it comes to like, you know, emotions staying with me longer, I did this scene where I was a police officer who was in a terrorist attack with a gun trying to like survive, and then spoilers, I got shot in the end. But we did that over and over and over and over and over again, just me going, you're running around trying to like save this guy, this French detective, and then there's, you know, AK-47s, and meanwhile I'm just with this little pistol, and my partner just got shot over there, so there's all that to consider. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like my adrenaline levels were fairly high, and at the end of the day I had to sort of chill out a little bit, because I just felt, you know, like regularly, and like every 10 minutes or whatever they call, you know, whenever we went for another take, I would feel, you know, like I'm in a life and death situation. So that was definitely like another dose of adrenaline, and another dose of adrenaline, and another one. So you get the picture. But the other one, which was very specific, it happened once, and it was very scary, was we were preparing for our stage and screen combat exam, which was back in 2017. It was rapier and dagger, so we're like rehearsing the moves. I step here, I step there, I go for a thrust, whatnot, you know. And I died in the end of that fight. Basically, we're rehearsing and we're going for that final move, and I'm like, yeah, so then Al, my partner, scene partner, he's like, he's gonna stab me, and I get stabbed in the heart, and I'm just like doing the motions and going you know, just to give some sort of sound effect to, you know, for people to have something to react to. Is it medically, you know, accurate? Probably not. I don't know if you make that sound when you get stabbed in the heart, but it gives something for the audience to react to, and, you know, sells the show. But long story short, so I'm doing that. I'm like, I just got stabbed in it. And suddenly, I just had this very real feeling that I could sense my throat filling up with blood. And I'm just like, I don't want to die. Like I could feel, like in that moment, I just had this panic that I'm dying right then and there. didn't last that long. It was like a split second again, so this bleeding left and right doesn't last that long. But for that 1 second, like the absolute fear and horror that took over me, oh my God, man, like I had to sit down and just have a breather. Honestly, it's just, and it still stays with me. It was just horrible. Like, I was terrified, and like, I don't want to die, and I'm fighting, and I feel bad, and there's anxiety as well, all at the same time rushing in, and I was like, okay, can we just take 5 minutes before we do this scene again? So, yeah, it is, it's not something that's regularly talked about, and it's like a hidden cost of acting, you could say. Like, it does hit you, and if you're not prepared for it, it will catch you completely off guard. Now, I know that I'm not the only one, because I was watching an interview with Bryan Cranston, and he talks about the famous scene, spoilers, in Breaking Bad, when Walt watches Jesse's girlfriend, whose name I forgot, it's been a while, overdose and die. And she's like throwing up. And basically, he's doing this scene, and he's going over it, and they're filming it. And for a split second, he talks about in an interview, Bryan Cranston does, he saw his own daughter's face over Jesse's girlfriend's face. And he just has that reaction of, which I'd assume any loving parent would have. And apparently they kept that take. Apparently, I'm not sure. But yeah, so it's something that does happen fairly regularly. And the more you do a scene, the more likely it is to happen. And I guess certain aspects of your like life and emotions, whatever you're going through at the time, might play into it. I don't really know what are the exact causes of it. If I had to, take a wild stab in the dark, because I'm no neuroscientist, but I'd say because we're imagining these things and we're actively physically doing them, and psychologically the intention is more or less the same, we might use some of the same neurological circuits as when we're doing things for real, and chances are that somewhere there's a slight glitch, as it were, and that's potentially the cause of it. But it's just something fun and interesting to know about acting from behind the scenes. And to be honest, I don't really mind it. It's kind of cool, but weird. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, that's been my weekly vlog. I hope to see you on the next one.